Good morning, everyone. Thank you once again for joining today's session. Uh, Same like every session we will have a very short introduction and then we will start our today's workshop. So my name is Vartuhi. If you don't know me, I am the business counselor manager at PACE Business Development Center. Uh, Briefly about PACE, we are a nonprofit community development organization and we have different programs. Our programs include early childhood education, workforce development, energy efficiency, housing, and business development. So we have more actually programs there. I am from the Business Development Center. So through our Business Development Center, we support entrepreneurs in LA County and Southern California by offering business counseling, procurement assistance services, and access to capital. So PACE in the city of Los Angeles, city has 10 BusinessSource Centers. And from those 10, PACE operates two of them. One is Pico-Union Westlake, and the other one is Hollywood Center, which I manage the Hollywood Center. So we are also a SBA microlender, EDA and iBank lender, and we are a certified CDFI, and we have our own lending, part, like we do lending for the small businesses. So again, like last time I shared this for those businesses who have been suffered due to immigration enforcement during month of June, there is a grant. It will close by Saturday, so you have still time. If you didn't apply for that, please go ahead and apply for that. If you need assistance, please feel free to reach out. We can, coordinate and help you. That is the information as of now available. So for today's session, today is like the second session from the fourth series we have with Jordan. Thank you again, Jordan, for doing this. Jordan, if you were here last time, I am pretty sure many of you you expressed you enjoyed the session we had last time. So I'm pretty sure we will have the same experience this week. Jordan is the founder and CEO of IcePop, which is a Los Angeles-based marketing agency. I will let Jordan, again, to do a brief introduction about himself and, share about, what his background. So this is this is the second session from the fourth, workshop series. We will have another two series coming next week. And the last one is, for the Black Friday. We will pause through the session, and if you have any question, we will address the questions. But at the end, we will have a Q&A session, so you will have the chance to unmute yourself and ask any questions you have. So with that said, I want to now turn it over to Jordan to introduce himself and kick off the workshop. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Jordan, and thank you everyone for being here. Let's get started. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen and replace you. Perfect. So yeah, thank you for the introduction. This is session 2. Last week, we spent a little bit of time talking about ads on Meta. This week, we'll be speaking about ads on Google. I've kind of done this in 2 parts. Some of this is for e-commerce businesses because I know Black Friday is coming up. Some of this is for local businesses, which I know last time we spoke, a lot of the examples we had here were local businesses. So I'll run through this and feel free to ask me any questions. A little bit about me. I feel very excited to be working with Pace because I grew up in Los Angeles, went to school in Los Angeles at USC. And so it's been a very, fulfilling moment to also build a business here and work with other businesses here. And I worked for a bunch of companies that are based in LA, like Tinder and Disney and Accenture and a bunch of other companies here too. Just as a quick reminder, IcePop does a ton of marketing for businesses, whether that's ads for e-commerce companies or local businesses or tech companies. These are a couple examples of our work. These are some of the websites that we designed. And I'll jump into our session. So you might remember this slide from last week if you were on the call. What we discussed is that at a high level, when you're talking about digital, the first 3 channels you usually look at are Google Ads, Meta Ads, and SEO. And just as a quick reminder, Google Ads tends to be higher intent. Someone is searching for something, they want to make a purchasing decision or a decision ASAP. Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, you're trying to convince someone to make a purchase, so the purchasing decision is a little bit longer. And then SEO is very high intent, but it takes time to rank on Google. So last week we focused on number two. This week we're going to focus on bucket number one, Google Ads. So before we jump into how to run Google Ads, I want to explain how the system actually works. So when you open your phone and you type something in on Google, or you type something, or you see an ad from Facebook or Instagram, what actually happens is that an auction occurs instantly on your phone. A bunch of different advertisers are all trying to reach all of us, and they have different bids of how much they're willing to spend, different daily budgets, all these different factors. And then Google decides, you know what, these two get to show the ad this time. Or Facebook says, when you open the app, this is the ad that you're going to see for the first time. What's really happening behind the scenes is an auction. And the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of times people only think about the first two bullet points on my slide here, not the third bullet point. So you think about how much are you going to pay per click when you're advertising on Google, or how much are you willing to pay per customer you acquire? You also usually have a daily budget, right? You say, I could spend $100 a day, $500 a day, $10 a day, whatever it is, whatever your budget is as a business owner. But the last piece is what people never think about, but is very, very important. The last piece is Google and Facebook and all these platforms, of course, want to show ads because they make money, but they also want to make sure that their users keep coming back to Google. They keep coming back to Instagram and Facebook. And so they don't want to send people to ads to websites that are bad websites or poor converting websites. So when you're running Google ads and Facebook ads and all these different ads, there's a tracking code you put on your website so you could track how well your ads are doing. Google and Facebook also look at the conversion rate, and they see website A for this dentist converts people for bookings at 5%, and website B for this dental business converts people at 2%. So they're going to have a preference to send the ads to the better website. Even if you're willing to spend a little bit more per customer, if your website is worse, you might not win in the auction. And I know, over the discussions we had last week and some of the people that reached out, some of the websites I think needed a little bit of like extra, love and care. And I recommend you guys put in that work before you guys start to spend a lot of money on ads, because you want to make sure that you are converting people and not just spending money and not getting results and not losing in the auctions. So how do we decide what to bid on Google Ads? And this also applies for SEO as well. But there are four kinds of keywords at a very high level that people are searching on Google. The first kind of keyword is informational. So just as a silly example, why do cats need furniture? That is an informational search. Someone's not really in the market to make a purchase. They're looking for info, they're looking for stats. I would put that as a low conversion rate. They're not really looking to make a purchase. Then you have the second bucket, which is a little bit smaller, which is someone who has a little bit more intention. They're going, okay, what are the different types of cat's furniture? I just got a cat. I don't know what the different types of cat's furniture are. So they're a little bit more in market, a little bit more likely to convert. And then you have transactional. Someone who goes, I need to buy cat furniture online or buy cat furniture, but they don't have a brand in mind. These people are very high converting. They're ready to make a purchase. They just need to figure out which brand to purchase from. And then last but not least, you have branded search, which is like someone writes in Tom's Cat Furniture, or another brand, extremely high converting group. They're either trying to make a purchase from that exact brand, or maybe you can convince them to purchase from your brand instead of the other brand they're looking for. And as you can see, that I put this in a triangle because there are more and more searches that are informational, then less research, then less transactional, and less navigational. And each of these searches should be going to different landing pages, should have different cost per click goals. So what do I mean by that? If someone is looking for information, why do cats need furniture? you might not want to take them to the page that's showing them a product to make a purchase. You might want to take them to a page that's giving them information, like a blog post or a landing page. Whereas if someone is looking for different types of cats furniture, maybe you take them to a collection page that shows them all the different kinds of cats furniture you carry. Or if they're making a purchase of a specific product, you then take them to the product detail page. And also, if you know that these people have different intentions, you're not going to pay the same for all these different clicks. So if someone's looking for info, maybe you say, I'm willing to spend 50 cents a click. But if someone is willing to make a purchase, you might spend up to $5 a click because you know that they're very, very likely to make a purchase. So the keywords should go to different pages and they should have different goals and different cost per clicks. So you're being effective. And you don't necessarily need to bid on all these kinds of keywords, but a lot of times I see people bidding on all these keywords and they're trying to send them to the same page and they're bucketing them all together, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. They have different intentions and different conversion rates. So how do we understand which keywords to bid on? So we could start off with any of these buckets. Let's take transactional, for example. There's a tool in Google that allows you to look at the keyword research and understand, what are people searching? How many times are people searching for it? And what is the cost per click for each of those searches? And the question becomes, there's 500 keywords. How do I know what to bid on? So what I did here is a visual representation of a scatter plot. You don't have to do it this way. You could do it in like a spreadsheet. But the idea is on the y-axis, you have the monthly search volume, and on the x-axis, you have the cost per click. So y-axis is how many searches per month, x-axis is how many clicks. And if you think about a scatter plot, in general, the top left quadrant up here, the top left, is the best place because it is the highest searches and the lowest cost per click. The second best is the bottom left, which is lower searches, but also very cheap cost per clicks. And then the more and more you go to the right of this graph, the more and more expensive it gets. So when a brand first comes to me and goes, what should I bid on? I go, well, listen, if you can't make the cheaper keywords work for you, you're definitely not going to get the more expensive keywords to work for you. So you want to find that nice intersection between volume and cost so that you have a chance to make this actually profitable. And then as you get that to work, then you can go on to more and more expensive keywords over time. And so I want to show you guys a real example of how this works, because I know that last time you guys asked me to jump into the platforms. So I'm going to do that right on the fly here. This is what the keyword planner looks like. If you're in your Google Ads account, you click on Tools, you click on Keyword Planner, and then you click this button that says Discover New Keywords. And I'm gonna just pick on Layla because she sent a question, and I'm gonna get to her question in a second. But if I'm not mistaken, you're working on the soccer youth program. So let's type that in. Let's go soccer kids program, soccer, or maybe youth soccer program, kids soccer. Yeah. And what you can do here is you could change the search from United States to any market we want. So if you're a global business, or sorry, like a business that sells to anyone online, you can sell to anyone. If you are a smaller business that's just focused on LA, like Layla's business, we could actually just type in Los Angeles here, and you can get more and more specific. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys not see my screen?
I can see.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So I'm going to go and click on Los Angeles County, even though Layla, I know that's a little bit bigger than your area, but just for this example. And then what we're going to see is what Google sends back to us. So first of all, what Google does, which is great, is it tells you the keywords you provided, these are the exact searches that happen per month. So of all the searches that I put in, it only gave me one of them, which is interesting. And it says that this gets searched about 90 times per month. And it also gives you a little bit of a monthly pattern. So what I could see here is that it was pretty slow in December, January, February, March, whatever. But when it comes to July and August, the search volume really picks up, which makes a lot of sense. It's probably summer months and kids want to, play soccer and parents want to put their kids in soccer programs. But the most amazing part of this tool is that it shows you other ideas you didn't even think about. So I didn't write YMCA soccer, but it knew to give me that as an idea of something I could bid on. I didn't type in soccer programs near me, but it gave me that as an idea to bid on. And the other thing this tool does is when it can, it doesn't always do it. It gives you the top of the page low range and the top of the page high range. So what does that mean? I'm going to just show you guys a visual example. This over here, the sponsor result, is the top of the page. And then there's also sometimes ads at the bottom of the page. There isn't in this example, but sometimes there are ads at the top of the page here and the bottom of the page. So this tool tells you how much it's going to cost per click from the low to the high, depending on how competitive it is that week, that day, that month. So just as an example, if I bid on youth soccer near me in Los Angeles County, I'm going to spend anywhere from 97 cents to $4.61 per click to get someone to my website. And what I like about this tool is it gives you a lot of great ideas. And what I do if I'm in your shoes is you could decide also if you want to exclude anything. Like Google is extremely smart. It knows what's a branded keyword and not a branded keyword. So if I don't want to bid on my competitors like AYSO, I could turn it off. If I do, I could leave it, right? It's very, very specific. I'm going to leave everything. And what you could do is you can click on this button here that lets you download everything into a CSV or Google Sheet. And in about 30 seconds, this report is going to get prepared and is going to export into Google for me. And I want to show you guys when I click open sheet, now all this data is here. What keywords, how many searches per month, what is the cost per click? And so then you could do what I was showing you guys in the spreadsheet. You could start to, build a little bit of like a chart and see which has good volume, low cost per click, and start there with your ads. Okay, so Layla asked a great question. I'm going to go back to that for a second. She says, what percentage breakdown do you recommend per keyword bucket? There's no exact science to it, but what I would say is that you want to exhaust the transactional as much as you can, and then you move to and transactional and navigational. You want to exhaust those as much as possible. Then you want to go to research. Then you want to go to informational. So if I was like a low budget situation, I would only focus on transactional navigational. And then if I cannot get any more volume because it's too expensive or there's no more volume for my market, whatever it is, then I would go into research. And then after I would do research, then I would go to informational because the more up the funnel you go, the less likely they're to convert and the longer it takes them to convert. So you might not see results from the first two buckets for a month or two. Whereas the transactional navigational, you can see results today if someone clicks on those. So it really just depends on the kind of business you're running, the budget you're running. For clients like ours that, some of them are a little bit bigger, we do all the buckets. But if it's a small budget, you're just starting off, I would start off with the first two at the bottom here. Will we be able to access a recording of the web seminar? I believe PaySelly will be sending this around. Um, so this is how we decide which keywords again, right? Just a summary, low cost per click, high volume and low volume. You start there, safe, you will hopefully be profitable. As you exhaust those, you move more and more to the right and you go for more and more expensive keywords.
There's another question, Jordan.
Yes.
Adrian asked, a keyword planner usually just gives me a wide range. Is there a way to get a specific number of searches?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't have the Q&A open. Thanks for reminding me about that. Um, so it gives you a wide range. Is there a specific number of searches? I mean, it doesn't get too much more specific than this, to be honest. Like I recommend is always looking at this chart here because you're right that like you see a range of like 210 or 140, but then if you actually zoom in on the monthly data, you can actually see like the real trend of like October, it actually got above 300, in June it only got under 100. And I think that that helps you understand the trends, but there's nothing more specific than this. There are other tools you can use like SCM Rush or RFs that also give you estimates. But I like this tool because it's actually Google itself. And so I think that like I would start here before going to like a third party tool. I hope that answers the question. Adrian, feel free to ask a follow-up. Okay, so some of these examples are a little bit more e-commerce driven, and then again, I'll go back to local business. In the e-commerce world, for example, like I remember Keisha, I believe you were on our last call. You were trying to sell spices online. Um, there are three kinds of ads that I recommend specifically for e-com that kind of follow a similar bucket of the keywords we were just looking at. The first is what I call shopping ads, or now they're called performance max ads. Then there's branded search, which again was like the navigational search we were looking at. And then there's generic search, which is a combination of the three other buckets, informational, research, and transactional. What is the difference between all of them if you're talking about performance? So shopping ads are usually very good. They are pretty good volume and pretty good return on ad spend or good ROI. Then there's branded search or navigational search, which is they're looking for a brand. That tends to be low volume. There's not that many people looking for an exact number, like exact brand. But if they are looking for an exact brand, the return on ad spend is great. And then there's generic search, which is no brand associated with it, a lot more volume in that bucket, but also lower return on ad spend. I don't want to simplify Google to say that this is all it is, because there are YouTube placements, display placements. Google does a lot of stuff. But if you're a small business, this is where I would start on e-commerce and some of this for local businesses before I look at anything else. In terms of shopping, or again, you might see the word Performance Max in Google. This is what it looks like. It is a shopping carousel. And, for example, these examples are examples of our clients in red, where we're able to, even though we're working with a small business, outperform Nordstrom in the first example, and get our client to show up higher in the carousel for the products they're selling. The beauty of shopping ads is after you get some purchases, you can actually give Google a target ROI or target return on ad spend so that it doesn't overspend or it doesn't give you bad performance. So you can actually give it a target, and that's very, very helpful. Branded search, here are a couple examples of that. If someone was looking for example, the company Verishop, or someone is looking for the company Glam Glow, you might want to do ads for your own brand name so that other brands don't bid on it. It's like a defensive play. But on the other side, you could use branded search in the opposite way. You could go on offense. You could bid on someone else's brand name. So again, going back to Layla's example for a second, if we wanted to, we could bid on AYSO Soccer with your brand name. So if someone's searching for AYSO Soccer, your company shows up instead of their company. So you can use this as a defensive tool to defend your brand, and you can also use it as an offensive tool to bid on your competitors' brands. And again, it's very good because someone's looking to make a purchase, basically, if they're looking for a brand. And then last but not least, again, were the three other buckets, which were no brand name associated, which we call generic search. And generic search example here is someone is looking for vitamin C hyaluronic acid. They don't know which company they want to make a purchase from. So anyone can bid on that. And it's going to be a little bit lower converting because there's no brand name associated with it, but a lot more volume. There are millions and millions of searches usually for generic search terms. Um, Going back to Adrian's question, in the past, I've used Keyword Planner, but it would give me a range of searches of 200 to 1,000 a month, and most related keywords would just be in that range. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to give you the exact numbers because Google doesn't want to like provide all that info for many reasons. So it will just be a range, and you kind of just have to choose keywords, test them, and then see what the actual volume looks like. I will say that there are some other more sophisticated tools in Google once you start to run ads that tell you the number or the percentage of impressions you're getting for a keyword versus your competitors. So what does that mean? If again, let's just take this example, vitamin C hyaluronic acid. Adrian, if you bid on this keyword for your business, And there's 100 other businesses that are bidding on this. Google has this thing called the impression share, which I think I could show you guys here. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Mm, I might be in the wrong section. Okay, I'm not sure if I could find it on the fly right now, but what it does is it tells you, like, for example, your business showed up for 20% of the searches for this word. And then if you look at the number of clicks you got and you go, oh, I got 20 clicks, then you can kind of back into the fact that, there's only 100 clicks that month and you won 20% of them. So that's the best way to kind of get real data after you see the estimates from Google, but that's really all you can do. Okay, so now let's talk about local businesses. So local businesses are super interesting in the world of Google um, because there are traditional search ads like we've been looking at, and then there are local ads that show up in the map and show up on, Google in terms of like listings like this. So going back to soccer programs for kids, these are Google listings, Google business listings. Sometimes you could put money behind these and sponsor them also. And there are different kinds of Google businesses in the local world. There are ones that can be verified and there's ones that cannot be verified. So what I mean by that is if you're an attorney, if you're a doctor, if you are a plumber, or like some other categories, you can actually verify with Google, put in your license number, go through a verification process, and get Google screened. And when you're Google screened, you have access to a new set of ads that other people don't have access to. So I actually put an example here, and this is not a client of ours. I just Googled this very quickly before. I typed in dental studio. I'm personally in the LA area, so it showed me these two people on the right side, A Dental Center and Zahor Dental Group. And what you'll see is on the left side, I put their Google listing, their Google business listing. So any local business can do the Google listing on the left-hand side. And I highly recommend if you listen to the last week's call, you guys set this up for your local businesses so that you guys show up for local searches. But because he's a dentist, he was able to put in his license number and get approved. And now he's showing up on the right side. And if you notice, only two people showed up there and it says get phone number and you can actually get called from the Google ad. And this is what we call a LSA ad, a local service ad. And I want to show you guys what categories you guys can do this for. If you come to this website, which is local service ads on Google, and I'm going to send the link in the chat, you can actually see if your business qualifies for these ads. So there's home businesses like plumbers, there's lawyers, there's health options. And, let's just click on health for this example. It tells you an allergist, a chiropractor, dentist. It actually lists out the kinds of medical professionals that are eligible. And it's very interesting. Not all medical professionals, not all attorneys. It's not like every category. It's very, very specific categories. But if you are a part of this group, you can apply for this, put in your license number. And if you're approved, you only get charged per call. You don't get charged per click, which as a business owner is amazing because you're actually getting a live lead when you're getting charged by Google. You are not getting charged just per a click, which could not go anywhere. And I forgot the exact number, but I believe it's like they only charge you if the phone call lasts for over 30 seconds. So it really lets you go after quality as opposed to just quantity of people coming to your website. So if I was you, set up the Google business listing if you don't have it. I know a lot of you guys do have it. That's what we saw on the call last week. If you guys are a part of any of these services that Google allows for LSA ads, local service ads, sign up for this, apply for this. This is way, way, way better than regular Google ads. And you're lucky if you're in a category that you could do this for. And um, before we go into the Q&A, I'm just going to give a little bit of a reminder that marketing takes time. There's this rule of seven that you hear in marketing classes and business school that people need to see your business like seven different times, seven different ways. It takes time for people to know who you are. So don't get discouraged if someone doesn't make a purchase after clicking on one Google ad or one Facebook ad. And, it takes time for you to see performance. Very similar to what we looked at last time. When you're looking at your Google metrics, look at your conversion value divided by your ad spend, look at how many customers you acquire, look at the cost per click, the cost to acquire a customer. So make sure you're looking at your numbers. Don't just do this blindly. And I will leave it there and jump into the questions. Can you put a cap on your budget with Google? Yes, you could choose to do this in two different ways. One is you can put a daily budget. So you can say, hey, I only want to spend $10 a day. And then Google would, generally speaking, not spend too much over that or too much under that. Does a pretty good job. You could also set certain goals for Google. So you could say, Google, I am willing to spend 500 bucks a day, but only if my cost per click is a dollar per click, or only if I'm getting an ROI of 2 to 1. Every dollar I spend on ads, I get $2 back. Again, it depends on the kind of business you're running and the kind of ads you're running, but you could do a daily budget, or you can also cap it by like KPIs or key performance indicators that you want to hit so it doesn't overspend. I recently started with Google Ads. I'm not verified, but for in the category, should I stop my current ad? It depends, like if it's working, it's working and you don't have to stop. But and a lot of times for even businesses that do fall into one of these buckets, we are running regular Google ads and we are running the local service ads because we want both, right? Because even if I type in here, let me just show you guys, dental studio, right? You have these ads up here, but it doesn't mean that you don't have, other search ads as you kind of go through Google. Here are regular search ads that are also running. So you don't have to stop doing the regular ads, but what we tend to see is that these ads up here, if you're in a local service ad category, tend to be very high converting. I think you guys can also like unmute yourselves and ask questions, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yes, if anyone has a question and they want to ask the question, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. Let me see. Yeah, we have. Let's start with Keshka. So, and then we will go with Tina and.
Good morning,
Great.
everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Keisha.
Jordan. Can you go back to the slide where you mentioned my name? It is the shopping
Yeah.
ad, branding, search, and generic. I just
Yes.
want to, yeah, that's it. Okay, I was trying to make a picture of it on my phone, and you switched the
No
thing.
problem. Yeah, go for it. You
Okay,
can take a picture of this.
okay. Now, I don't know how in the world Google got my information, but they were charging my card for Google Ads, and I didn't even sign up for it. I don't understand how that happened.
Um,
I had to call them and tell them and everything.
I'm not sure. I mean, if you don't have an account, I don't really know how they would charge you.
Mm,
But maybe someone did it on your
yeah,
behalf or something like that. But yeah,
yeah, they
that
probably
definitely
did.
shouldn't happen.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, let's ask info thoughts. Like, I
I'm
don't
seeing a
know.
lot of great questions in the chat, but yeah, let's
Yes,
go
yes,
info suds
yes. Let's
first.
go. Yes.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi,
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, how you doing, Jordan? My name is Adam. Good to meet you guys.
nice to meet you.
Me too.
So I have a laundromat and I have Google Ads, I have Meta, IG, but I just would love to have an understanding of how I could get more customers and just be more out there so people see us, people would like to come visit us, and people would love to come do their laundry.
Yeah, let me try looking up your spot really quickly and see what I see here. Is this the right way to look at it? Sud City, LA?
Absolutely. We're the first people right there. Sud City,
Nice.
LA.
Okay, great. Sud City, LA. Um, Yeah, this is great. You put laundromat in the title, which is great. I would definitely recommend getting as many reviews as you can.
Right.
Obviously, if you get into like the territory of 50, 60, 70 reviews, that will kind of help you show up more often when someone just types in laundromat.
Ah, okay.
Um, so that's a very important piece of it. Let's actually, what like part of the city is the laundromat in?
I'm in Silver Lake. So it's like
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake in between Echo Park, Rampart Village.
Okay, amazing. So I put in laundromat Silver Lake just as an example.
Okay.
And you'll see that like in the first listings, you're not showing up here. And so
Right.
there's, I would say two things that I see right off the bat. The first thing is Alvarado Laundry is running a ad from their Google listing, the same thing that you have, the Google business listing. If
Right.
I was in your shoes, I would run an ad against that if you're not already. And if you are and you want to scale up, you maybe just turn up your budget a little bit more. But I would definitely look at that. And I would also look at the service areas you put in. So when you're running local business ads, you can say just Silver Lake, Echo Park,
Hmm.
whichever areas, make sure you just chose the right ones if you're running those ads.
Okay.
The second thing you'll see here is the reason you're not showing up probably is because this guy has 138 reviews. This one has 27 reviews. This is
Okay.
111. So you really need to bump up the number of reviews you have if you want to be competitive on this front.
Right. Okay.
Um, the other thing I would do if I was in your shoes is I'm looking at the organic Google listings and I don't see you here. And just going back to your website for a second, I have a recommendation for you. So what I would do is if I jump into here, um, it's great that you have these like our services pages and some of these like, pages like that.
Right.
What I would do is I would create a another page that's a little bit more in depth here for location. Or maybe I'll change this page to say like in the URL sudcityla.com/ Silver Lake location or Temple Laundromat or Echo Park Laundromat, maybe even pages for all of them if they're all in your service area. And then on each of those pages, put in a lot of content that describes why you're the best in that area so that your organic Google will perform well on your website. So just as an example, because I want to leave you with something you can actually like kind of use as a resource. If you see here for this law firm, they service all of California, but we want them to show up in a bunch of different markets.
Hmm.
So, for example, if she wanted to focus on sexual harassment as an area of law, we created her a Los Angeles page, a Newport page, a San Francisco page. If I click on LA, you'll see the URL is sexual harassment law Los Angeles. Then we do the
Ah,
same
okay.
thing for every single market. You could do this locally. You could do Silver Lake, Echo Park, Temple, and each of the pages have different content, slightly different content, so Google ranks it.
Hmm.
So I'm going to drop in this link for you in the chat so you can
Thanks so much.
just reference it, and maybe this will help you, come up with some new ideas on that front.
I didn't even know you can do something like that.
Yeah, you can create, as many pages as you want on your website. And the idea is on the local side, if you want to be ranking on every single area, then you need a different
Mhm.
page that Google sees so that they say, you know what? Oh, he is in Silver Lake. He has great content on this page about Silver Lake.
Right.
We should rank him.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we'll be reaching out to you directly for sure.
My pleasure. It was really nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you
Um,
too. Thank you.
Next up, we have Layla. Google Ads can be overwhelming. Where do you recommend is a great first start? Um, that's a great question. What I would do is go back to three parts here that I think I would do starting off. So the first piece is really what I just discussed just a minute ago, which is I would take your Google business listing, and if it has the opportunity to run ads against it, I would put dollars behind this and run ads against it in the map pack and things of that nature. And then the other things I would do are run the transactional and the branded search. So going back to this slide here, for your example, Layla, I would probably run ads against other brands like AYSO and other competitors, and try to play offense and take customers away from them. And in the transactional place, I would do exactly what we just described, which is um, soccer youth program near me and all these examples we saw here. And the other thing which just comes to mind as you guys are talking about, like, how do I not make this so complicated? This is going to sound a little bit complicated, but it's meant to make it less complicated. There are three types of keywords on Google. There are exact match, phrase match, and broad match. And what that means is exact match means Google only show my ad if someone types in literally the word youth soccer near me. No other variation of it. That's exact match. Then there's phrase match, which is like, hey, Google, if someone types in like youth soccer programs near me, but my keyword is youth soccer near me, still show my ad. It's close enough. And then there's broad match, which is like your word is youth soccer near me, and Google might go and like add in a ton of other things because they just can predict that it's close enough. If I was in your shoes and you're just starting with Google, only do exact match and phrase match. Do not do broad match keywords because Google will bucket in a lot of stuff, waste spend, and if you're not actively managing it, like we do for our clients, like every single day, you're going to waste money there. So only do exact match and phrase match keywords. I highly, highly recommend you guys check your Google Ads accounts and make sure you're not doing broad match keywords. Very, very big point. I want to make sure you guys all get that. And then I'll just look at your last comment, Layla, again, and then I'll switch to Dr. Michelle. Going back to the law firm example, this is just creating a different page per location and not a different GBA per location, although I think you recommend doing that too. Yeah, great question. So in the example for the law firm, I am showing different pages on her website for the different areas. These are not different Google business profiles. But you are right, Layla, that like if this attorney had an office in San Francisco, or could have a physical location in San Francisco, I would tell her to have another GBP in San Francisco too, so that she has a better chance of coming up with a local listing there as opposed to an attorney advertising from LA in that market. And so we do have clients that have multiple Google business profiles because they have different offices in different locations and all that kind of stuff. Next up, Dr. Michelle, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is overwhelming for me, LOL. Yes, I totally hear you. Just again, to simplify things, let me see what kind of doctor you are. I'm going to just Google your name for a second. Oops, that didn't work. Dr. Michelle de Amico. I'm a psychologist, but I'm a coach. Okay, got it. So if you're gonna go for like coaching, you could, use the same tool here, and I'm just gonna assume that you're in LA County, but I know you could probably do coaching virtually. But maybe it's like life coach or something to that effect. So you could see that a lot of people are looking for life coaches in LA, right? Somewhere in the ballpark of 1,900 people are searching that a month, or a life coach near me. There's a lot of searches for people looking for this. So the first thing I would do is I would make sure that I have a Google business profile, which I'm not seeing one for you, but maybe it comes up differently. So I might just be doing it wrong. But the second thing I would do is I'd set up a Google ad for the exact words of what you're trying to go for, like life coach near me in Los Angeles. And if there's any other variations of this that you think are good, I'd add that in and drive people directly to your website that will try to get them to book an appointment with you. And I think that that's the way I would approach your business specifically. It's like having the Google listing for organic Google and then Google Ads driving to your website. I saw Google Ads. Okay, Brian said, Google Ads is confusing. Is it worth doing one of those Google certifications? I saw Google Ads. Yeah, great question. Yeah, Brian, so like our team does the Google Ad certification every year just because we want to be certified by Google. It's definitely like a solid place to start if you're trying to learn Google Ads. But honestly, I learned a lot when I was first starting off about 10 years ago, just watching YouTube videos, and kind of like learning from people that made it simple and easy to understand. So I recommend checking out YouTube. You have to understand that Google is a business and it's trying to make the most money. And sometimes they tell you to do things that don't make the most sense. Like sometimes they tell you do broad match keywords, but I am telling you the opposite because my interest is not to make money like Google is. It's like to be profitable. So look at the Google Ads certifications, but also look at some experts on YouTube. And I think that that'll give you a good place to start.
Let's unmute Tina.
Go for it. Hey, Tina.
Yeah.
Hello,
sorry.
hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Nice to meet
so
you.
Hi, nice. Thanks, Jordan. I have a local business in Long Beach, but
Mhm.
I'm online as well. So I wanted to know, how should I structure my Google ads? Should I focus for my store for people? Because I do need people to come in the store, but I also need online sales.
Yeah, great question. You can actually do both. The way that I look at it is when you're running Google Ads to your online website for sales, it's very easy to track it. You can actually, if you're using Shopify or a similar platform, click a couple buttons and it will actually, when you're running the Google Ads, help you understand how many purchases came from the Google Ads, what is your return on ad spend. And so I think that I would start there to bring in orders. For your physical location, you can run the ads that we were talking about a couple minutes ago, but it's much harder to track how many people came in to your actual store from the ads. So what I would say is that like if I had to choose one, I might run the ads to bring online sales. But if you had the budget to do both, you could set up two different Google ad campaigns, three different Google ad campaigns, some for your online business, some for your in-store, in-person business, and there's no issue doing both.
Okay. I have one more question. When I'm running my ads, because I do run ads and be messing with them, is it better to run them longer time for the same money or shorter time for the same money? Does it matter? Because you know how you can go shorter time and pay a little more money and it says the same kind of number count, but I thought maybe running longer was better.
Great question. The answer is that you generally want to have your ads on consistently. You don't want to turn ads on and off because every time you do, it goes back into learning. And so if I had to choose longer versus shorter, I would say longer. The other piece of the equation is the number of conversions you get. So generally speaking, the way that Google and Meta perform so well for companies is because they're running the ads long term. They get enough purchases or enough leads or whatever the goal is for that business. And then Google has that data and goes, wow, we found 20 purchasers or we found 20 leads. Now we know what the right person is for this business. Let's start showing it to more people like this. So the longer your ads run, the more purchases, the more leads you get, the better you get. And I highly, highly recommend keeping them on long term, even if you're running a smaller budget, than just to doing it temporarily and turning them off.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Of course.
Let's
Okay.
unmute Dr. Michelle.
Hi, Dr.
So
Michelle.
Hi, thank you. I know you went over the life coach thing, and I'm in the process of setting up my Google business right now.
Mhm.
I thought it was set up, but apparently it's not. So, two questions. One is, you recommend really doing SEO on your website before you start, really looking into the Google ads, right? Is that
Uh, well,
because
Google. Mhm. Go ahead,
well,
sorry.
it doesn't SEO, isn't it the kind of thing that's ongoing though?
Exactly. So SEO and Google Ads are two different initiatives. One doesn't have to wait for the other. You can do
Okay.
Google Ads and not do SEO. You can do SEO, not do Google Ads, or do both.
Okay.
The way that I think about it is Google Ads, the minute you turn them on, you're going to start getting traffic to your website or calls to your business right
Okay.
away, right?
I
They might
see.
not be the highest quality if you didn't set up your strategy right, but right away, you're going to start to see results. SEO
Okay.
takes longer to see results, but in the
Okay.
long run, it's the best thing ever because you're not paying for that traffic. It's organic people coming to your website. So
Okay.
you could do both. One doesn't have to wait for the other.
Okay.
It just depends what your goals are and what your budgets are.
Okay. Thank you. The last question is, I noticed when I was setting up my Google business is that it only has life coach as an option. And I am an executive coach. I work with organizations and stuff. So is that going to hurt me? And how, no? Okay.
Great question. No, just because you can't run a local service ad doesn't mean that Google Ads won't work. Um,
Okay.
Again, I'm just niched down to Los Angeles in this search here. You can obviously open this up to more, but
Mhm.
even when I type in executive coach on Google, 140 people on average search that just in LA County itself,
Okay.
and you can see the cost per click in the lower and higher range.
Okay.
And so you could totally run Google Ads. You might not be able to run local service ads, but that's okay. A lot of businesses can't run those. That's just a nice benefit if you can.
Uh-huh.
But you should definitely have a Google business profile that says like Dr. Michelle, executive coach, and then get reviews from past customers. And
Yeah.
slowly, you'll see that once you start searching executive coach, oops, sorry, I can't see what I'm typing with this little thing on Zoom. You'll start to see that you have a chance of showing up
Okay.
um, in that little, like, local business thing that shows up here. So
Yeah.
your goal would be to eventually
Right.
show up here.
Okay. And yeah, I noticed when you put up that other screen that leadership coaching, which is what it's executive leadership. I noticed that there were far more people looking for leadership. So would that be a keyword that I would use instead of executive or in addition to?
Yeah, usually you're not bidding on one keyword. You're usually bidding on
Okay.
somewhere in the ballpark of like 10 keywords, a
Okay.
little bit more, a little bit less. And so I would recommend leadership coaching, executive coaching, um, maybe corporate coaching, CEO coaching, all these things that kind of
Right.
seem like they're in the right bucket,
Okay.
putting them together, and then you'll see the data come in and see, you know what? Only leadership coaching is working well, the rest aren't. And then you could turn them off or add more
Okay.
variations. But I would do more than one keyword. I would do around 10 keywords.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you too.
Let's unmute Nia. Nia, welcome. You can ask your question.
Hi, yes. So, I'm new to this whole process. I started a Shopify store, and I want to get ready for Black Friday. So I've been doing a lot of social media ads, which has gotten me, not ads, sorry, a lot of social media posts, which has gotten me kind of like nowhere as far as like views and followers, and more important, conversions to my website to for purchases. So my question is, out of Facebook and Google and the TikTok shops and all the things, what is like the best place for me to start? Would it be Google? Would it be Facebook? Would it be TikTok? Like, what is the one thing that I should
What are
do?
you selling, Nia, if you don't mind me asking? What is the product?
I do like apparel. I do some t-shirts. I'm gonna do some ugly Christmas sweaters. It's called Sport Your Attitude, and it's sports phrases for like fans. They say things like trash talker and what position do you play? And so it's like hoodies, t-shirts. I did have caps. I'm not sure if I still have those on there. And I'm gonna do like ornaments and things like that for the holidays.
Understood. Um, my gut here is that you would be most successful running ads on Meta, which would be Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because I don't know if you're going to be super successful on Google yet because your brand isn't out there. And, like, I don't know if a lot of people will be typing in like trash talk or t-shirt or something like that. It's going to
Yeah.
be very low volume. But I could tell that if you ran these on Instagram and Facebook, someone would be like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Or I really like this. And they would be inspired to make a purchase. So if I was in your shoes and I had a limited budget and only one channel to choose, I would do Meta. And those
Okay.
ads will run both on Facebook and Instagram out of the box. I would get images, videos, the ones you're running on TikTok organically, what you're running on Instagram, and I would run them through the ads manager on Meta. I would not just boost them inside of Instagram. I would actually go
Okay.
to ads manager, which I'm just going to pull up really quickly. And you should reach out to me so I can kind of run you through this more. But you actually could set up ads in this tool that Meta has. You could target people of a certain age group, a certain income level. You can get very, very specific and track all of it. And this is where I would put my money if I was you, Nia.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I know we have a couple more minutes.
And yes, just again, once again, I put it in the chat, but we have a survey and we appreciate if you can complete it. It's only 5 simple questions. It is to bring you better quality workshops, and we want to get your feedback. We want to hear like what you say. So please take like it may take maybe like 2-3 minutes, not more than that. Complete that survey. So let me now unmute
I'm just
Keshia.
going to respond to Layla very quickly.
Okay.
Layla, I do think that you know, adjusting your website and your services and your follow-ups to whatever is most easy for customers is a good idea. Just to give you an example from my business, Layla, because I have the data on it. If you go to my website, for example, a lot of people, if they want to reach out to us, they go to the bottom of our page, they click the Let's Talk button, and then they come to this form. But we also have other pages for attorneys that we run ads to. And I know that attorneys really want to get on the phone. They're not really in the business, like want to get an email. They're a little bit more like old school, a lot of them. And so I actually have a calendar here. They can click on it, they could choose a time, and they could book a time on my calendar. So I've actually customized this just for attorneys and doctors because I know they're different than e-commerce customers that are much more just like email me, Slack me, it's a different mindset. So I think you should come up with some kind of appointment booking thing on your website in your emails to get people over the finish line. And that would help you a lot, I think. Okay, sorry, Keisha, I think you wanted to ask a follow-up.
Yes.
Jordan, I have a website in there. Can you look at my website real quickly and give me what you think?
Is it the
It's
mouthwash
just,
one?
yes, I just published it today.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think what I would do is I think the bare bones are here. What I would
Yeah.
look at is I'm going to show you an example of a website that I think is very good in a
Okay.
similar space. It's not exactly your space. It's called
Okay.
DuraDry. They make products for like deodorants and things of that nature.
Okay.
And you'll see that if you look at this website, their product detail page is very, very thorough. They have
Okay.
reviews, they have subscription or one-time purchases, and then they actually have like videos of people talking about the product, bundles, things of that nature,
Okay.
reviews. I know you just started, but this is what I would
Mhm.
try to like get to if I was you. And I'm gonna
Okay.
put it inside the chat so you have access to that.
Okay, thank you. Vic, how do you pronounce your name? Vicity?
My name is Bartuhi.
Yes, Versity.
Bartuhi.
Would it be possible if you can, at the end of Jordan's series that he does, that we can have some time with him to where he can kind of help us with maybe just one or two things for our business? Is that possible?
Jordan is doing like this on a volunteer basis, like he's a business owner, and I cannot ask him unless he wants, like he finds the time to do it, to be honest with you. So
Yeah,
as a
Keisha,
business owner, he has a lot of to do, but Jordan, it's your.
I was wondering if
yeah, if
Pace
you want,
Business
if
can pay him to help us.
yeah, definitely. If you want, just fill out the form on my website, icepop.co.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get back to you on a time we can chat.
Okay.
And we'll put a booking on the calendar with me or someone from my team, and we'll try to help you out.
Okay. Well, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Did I miss anyone's questions before we wrap? I know we're a little bit over time.
I think we addressed all the questions. If anyone last minute, if you have any still questions that you think you want to, like, there's anything you want to ask, please go ahead, raise your hand. We can unmute you, or you can write it in the chat box for like 1 or 2 more minutes. We will be able to be there to address the questions. If there is no question, then again, thank you so much. Please make sure to complete the survey. It will help us to bring in more workshops that it helps you. Thank you so much. Seems there is no more questions, Jordan. So thank you so much, Jordan, for your great job you did. Oh, I see. Okay, no, I think it was a mistake. Mindy.
My pleasure. I'll just say one other thing. Just it might be helpful for you business owners. Besides for this that we're gonna send around, you guys can always follow the IcePop Instagram. I try my best to post examples of ads we do and like tips and tricks. I actually do. This is actually new. I started posting videos on a regular basis explaining digital marketing to people. I'll put that in the channel here, but you'll see I put a lot of different videos here that are informational and hopefully it helps some of you guys. So feel free to follow that, DM us, ask questions. You guys can do whatever you want with us.
Okay. Okay, then. Thank you so much. There is no more questions. So I wish all of you a beautiful rest of the week and looking forward to see you all next week at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.